likelihood of interest rates being better than they are now within the first 4 years is really good. So take the higher interest rate option and let's trickle down and do it again in the future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Super excited. This is going to be a cool one. I've got my father on here today, Rod Dennis.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for joining me, Dad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Obviously, my father and I go way back since birth. Best mentor I've ever had, best friend. It's probably going to be a tough one to go through. It's going to be probably a little emotional here.
Yeah.
But
I can see that happening.
Yeah, just incredible human being. And just an amazing father. So grateful to obviously be your son and be here today. So
I'm a proud father. You've just been a delight. Been a lot of fun with you, and watching you grow as a human being, as a father. It's just been super cool. You and your sister have just been the joy to your mother and I.
Yep.
This that you just can't imagine. Well, I guess you can imagine
now that I got my own daughter,
it's
it's wild to see the. There's nothing like it, so
right.
Now I get it. Tell everyone about yourself. Where you're at today. Obviously, mortgage. He's in the mortgage biz. Been on LO for 30
some odd years. Let's see, 84 when I got started into the business. So. 28 years.
28 years.
Yeah. Or was that 38 years? 38
years. Yeah. Shit.
It was before you?
Yeah. So been doing it for a while.
Yes.
Had been at a couple different companies at Guaranteed Rate now.
Yes. Been there for a little over 6 years now.
A little over 6 years. And seems to be an amazing family that you've got over there.
It's a good spot. Yeah. It's a good organization. The management team is super strong. The attitude is right. It's towards production, and it's a good spot. It's my last spot, most likely, in the business.
Yep. Yeah, I think you guys always talk about how you never want to lose a deal to price because you always want to be able to take care of everybody, and so that's kind of what your guys' notion is it's making sure you're taking care of the consumers as opposed to always making the most dollar amount per transaction kind of thing.
For sure. Now technology's taken over in the world, and that's the big thing that our organization has is probably what we think is some of the strongest technology in the industry.
Yep.
They're actually, of course, trying to get rid of the producers as things go in the world. That production or the technology allows a consumer to go into the systems and do a whole lot of things without us, and that's good, and it's bad.
Yeah, yeah. It's as opposed to coming into the office and sitting down with me and we'll go through everything. It's like, go online and submit your application.
Sure, so, and it's good for the customer for sure. It gives them the ability to be secure with their information. It gives them immediate feedback on different things, and it opens portals for them to securely again upload information. It's good systems.
Yep. Yeah. Talk a little bit about your upbringing. Tell everyone kind of where you're from, kind of how you got to where you're at today.
Well, I'm from Missouri, originally born there and stayed there through, I guess, when I moved out here.
Yep.
I had tried a couple things in Houston, Texas, and Dallas, Texas for a little bit, but from Missouri, I came out here and intent of moving into the real estate business, and I was in real estate school, and I met a gentleman at my swimming pool, which was in the mortgage business, and I liked what he was talking about, and next day I decided to go work in that industry. So it's been good for me.
What's been kind of your path to today? How did you – I know you had a America's Mortgage store for a little while.
Right. I had my own organization for 13 years, and the Great Recession took care of that.
Yep.
It got a little bit challenging, and I probably had overextended in some ways. Had leveraged quite a few properties and things, and it got a little financially challenging. So that business went away, and but it was a very great learning experience, and it allowed me to raise a family at that time, and it was super enjoyed that.
Yep.
Self-employment has its big advantages and disadvantages, of course.
Difference between the broker world that you were in and the retail world now?
Probably not a whole lot of difference, really. The broker world simply allows you to go to multitudes of lenders, and we really do the same thing. Although you see the transaction close under Guaranteed Rates name, we're originating under the guidelines and selling the loans to two different institutions.
Yep.
So it's very similar in that respect.
What's your favorite part about the industry?
Helping the consumer. It's super cool to be involved in people purchasing their own residence, or seeing them get involved in investment properties and creating wealth through that. I guess the funnest part I have right now is, because I've been in 38 years now, I'm seeing great grandkids come in, which is crazy. So
Yep.
I'll have done somebody's transaction in 85, 86, and they've stuck with me, and I've done their kids and the grandkids loans, and so that's just been that's heartwarming to have that occur. That people have kept their trust with you for that time frame, and I super enjoy that.
Yep.
Helping the kids get started in their first homes.
Yeah. Great start to a new conversation. I don't know if I want to divulge this, but you helped me get started.
Mm-hmm.
When Alex and I wanted to buy our first house, we didn't have money saved up for a down payment. So, you talked about doing an FHA loan at the time, and where we were able to put 3.5% down, and you gifted us that to kind of help us get it going.
Right.
So probably doing a lot of things like that right now with your different clients as well.
I highly recommend that people help their kids get started in homes. I mean, certainly I think the development of wealth in the United States is mostly through real estate ownership. And so the sooner you can get into real estate ownership, the better. And so although it was a small investment into your future, I think it's been a great thing for the growth of your wealth.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. So definitely there's gifting opportunities, and a lot of people gift their money back at a future date too.
What are you hinting
I haven't asked, yeah, give me my damn money back, would you? So yeah, there's it's a great way to get started, no question, and it's hard to save up enough money for a down payment, and but yet you'll have the cash flow to buy a house, but the down payment savings is extremely hard, and so getting that help from parents, grandparents, sisters, cousins, anybody that can help you out is
as long as it's an immediate family member. Is that correct? Or who can you get the gift from? Can it be pretty much anybody?
Fiance, anybody that's you can show a relationship with to a degree, other than your buddy.
Yeah.
So it should be a family relationship to some degree.
Yeah. General question: where do you kind of see the market going? I know it's kind of a buzzword right now.
38 years been doing this. I'm certain it's going to change.
Yes, I know that's your quote. Yes, things are going to change. Yes,
definitely going to change. I don't know. It's one of the toughest markets I've actually seen for quite some time.
Yep. And is that just because interest rates are higher, just because it's just so crazy right now because inventory is so low? Well,
as a mortgage originator, a big part of our volume over the last couple of years has no doubt been refinance transactions. Yep. So where rates were super low, everybody needed us, or everybody could utilize our services and our product.
Yep.
Now nobody needs our product to a degree. On the refinance business, their rates are in the 3s, and ours are in the 4.5s to 5.5s. So they don't need us anymore. And so transactions out there now are purchase. And the purchase business, a lot of that is, as you know, has declined in reference to the number of transactions.
Yep.
And a significant amount of those are cash. And now you also have a multitude of mortgage people who were in the past dealing with refi business, and now everybody's pursuing the same smaller amount of transactions. So it's a tough market right now, but this too shall pass.
Yep.
Then it will.
Yeah, I was on a team meeting this morning, and we talked about it. Right now everyone's buying with a mid-5s or low 6 interest rate if they're buying a second home.
Mm-hmm.
in a couple of years, when everyone's been buying those homes for a couple of years and rates go back down, there's going to be a whole new influx of people that are going to have to refi.
Yeah, I hate that.
Recreate that system again. So
that's the cycle that we go through.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm actually right now selling closing costs as opposed to interest rate. So I'm thinking that an individual is not too smart to buy down an interest rate at this time. Just take a higher interest rate. Let us give you a lender credit.
Yep.
And so that it's basically a free loan, although it's at a higher interest rate. It's a free loan, and as interest rates decline over the short-term future or over the future,
Yep.
hopefully it's short-term,
Yep.
Then we'll trickle down and do a refi. So if you're starting at 5.25 right now, and we go to 5% and do a no-cost transaction again for you,
Yep.
winner.
Yep.
So it's a win-win, actually.
Well, and I was talking to somebody the other day that said, well, yeah, but then don't they restart their payment? Well, what would someone do in that case? They would just pay their same payment with a lower rate?
They can, certainly. If your goal is to pay your house off, then just keep making the same payment that you were at a lower interest rate, and your amortization will go faster. No question.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that notion that, okay, you don't have to, just because you got a new payment now with your new 30-year doesn't mean you have to do that new payment. You could pay above that.
Correct.
To your old payment or whatever and adjust it like you said.
Yeah, just go under, it's simple amortization. And
how do you show somebody choosing between rates?
a break-even point is a big calculator. So if, for example, a guy's going to live in a home for 4 years or less or has no idea what he's going to do, then I'll never recommend that they spend money to buy a lower interest rate, because it typically is about a 4-year break-even point.
Yep.
That the higher interest rate option is your better option for the short term.
Yep.
And in today's world, that's what I'm telling people is, hey, likelihood of interest rates being better than they are now within the first 4 years is really good. So take the higher interest rate option and let's trickle down and do it again in the future.
Yep. Yeah, I did a video on that exact same thing the other day, because we had a contract come in where the buyer was using the builder's lender, and there's like $50,000 in baked-in fees for them to get their rate. It's like, okay,
craziness.
well, did you actually evaluate that and figure out, like you said, your break-even time frame, or what is actually the best rate for you and your family at that time? Because chances are them staying in that property for 30 years and actually paying off that mortgage is probably slim to none.
Pretty small.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty
I don't
small.
know what the actual stats is of that, but
I
people
think
actually-
there's closer to a 10-year time frame, whereas there used to be considered a 7-year time frame for ownership.
Okay.
But that's an average, and
yeah,
and that's ownership. That doesn't mean the time frame before you've refinanced, changed your financing. People want cash out to do something different, or want to move to a 15-year or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like my demographic, I feel like is like, oh, we get bored, really, at least myself. I'm like, I get bored, and I wanna,
Like your mother, she's always wanted a new house.
I want to move and try new things and explore new areas and
Right.
check out those new restaurants and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite thing you got going on right now?
Pickleball actually
I
is
was
probably
just
one of
gonna
my
say.
favorite things. Yeah. So I'm playing probably 6 hours or 8 hours a week, something like that.
I thought you were gonna say a day. I'm like, shit.
Sometimes it seems like that, yeah. So that's been super fun. I was teasing myself for a little while going pro as an old man, but in the old man league. But it's I'm learning that I'm not that good. I'm just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're pretty damn good. Kicked my ass the other day. That's
yeah,
for sure.
well.
No, I guess that's not saying much. That's not saying much. That's true.
And golf game. My
Yep.
golf game's started to get a little bit better now. I'm starting to get them down the middle.
Yep.
And so that's been super fun. But grandpaing is probably one of the funnest things that we have going on right now, for sure.
Yep.
Grandma and grandpa are having a good time with all three of our grandkids, and super fun. We see that we're ready for you guys to pull the goalie and have a few more.
Yep.
So,
No pressure over here. No pressure over here. Just talk to Alex. That's not on me. I'm ready for the same thing.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a whole gambit of kids running around here so shortly.
Yeah, we'll have
Next
to get a
couple
bigger
years from
kitchen
now.
table, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite part of being a father?
Watching you grow up. As we had 4 months ago, we crossed the half-life time frame,
Yep.
that I call it, which which again I think there need to be a Hallmark card for that. Is whenever you were exact same age I was when you were born.
Yep.
And that was a super cool thing for me, just to see where you were in life at the same time that I remember being at that time frame. So
Yep.
that was super fun, just to see in the growth of you and your sister, and how your lives are in path and with ours, and totally different in other ways. And yeah, it's just super fun to see you guys smile. I think that's the most important part, is just seeing your family growing, smiling, happy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Love that.
for sure.
You've obviously been a huge mentor for me. You've obviously had a tremendous amount of success in the industry. For those that are kind of getting into the industry, words of advice.
Get into the mortgage industry right now?
Real estate
Don't
industry.
do it.
Yeah. Or just the real estate industry in general right now. It's a tough market.
Database.
Database, yes.
Just the database is your number one thing. Is that
Yes, love that.
it's who you know now and who you're going to know 30 years from now.
Yep.
And just stay in touch with those people, having them continue to be your friends. Let them know what you're doing, and knowing what they do. It's a two-direction world.
Yep.
Is that you're making sure you're helping them in their world, and they're helping you. So, no question, staying in touch, knowing what their world is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always commend you for your database, because that was one of the biggest things that you probably taught me, was to build that. And so now I feel as though, I've got a pretty good database.
Well, you've kind of gone a little overboard on it. You have a massive amount of people that you know, and that's one of the coolest things that I see that you've done, is develop relationships of massive closeness with a lot of people through the different organizations, through life in general. You seem to be everybody's friend, know everybody's name. That's super important, and you're seeing the success from that.
Try to be, yeah. People want to get a hold of you. How can they, if they want to get a mortgage or refinance their property or anything, how could they get a hold of you?
RodDennis.com will always get you to it. So that will link people directly to my guaranteed rate website, and so that's an easy way. Call me, text me. I guess I can give you my phone number if you want. But
If they don't own a house yet, but they want to just start having the conversation.
Good time to start. No matter when you want to buy, if it's even 2 years from now, it's a good time to do an evaluation of kind of where you're at and what your goals are.
Yep.
Let's talk about how to get the money down for the down payment, and start showing you how to do that. Look at your credit and evaluate what changes perhaps you'd want to make with that. Maybe it's time to go open a small credit card to make sure your credit scores are good. But let somebody evaluate your credit scores for sure. There could be some things that are incorrect on there that take quite a bit of time to fix.
Yep.
And get that done. And don't go self-employed today if you want to buy a house tomorrow. So.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've always kind of touted you about too, is you're kind of a mortgage coach. Everyone, you could just go and get a rate today and get a mortgage or whatever, but like, you're actually there to advise them and to educate them on what their circumstances are and what's best for their goals and their family at that time. So commend you for doing that. And
thanks.
For,
that's my job.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I enjoy of it. It certainly can go into just the rate and terms competition, and I never like to lose those either. But the most important part and the funnest part, the most rewarding part, is to get somebody into a home, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely the part that I miss from the mortgage industry, is for sure. I don't miss any of the processing of the paperwork, or I was really good at closing loans late, but what I do miss is the celebration of at the end of it, and getting them into a home, and how cool that is, and how rewarding that is for that family and yourself for helping them get through that process.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
For sure.
Well, Dad, obviously, I love you. Thank you for everything, and thanks for coming on and doing an episode of Break It Down with Braydon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. This is it's cool to see the podcast system and what you're doing with this, and it's this not my era, and it's very cool to see how it's impacting your life.
Yep.
And your business, and
always tell everybody this is something I wish I started years ago. That's for sure. And you always kind of pushed me to do this video stuff back in the day, and I was always kind of scared to do it. And now I'm just like, screw it. I don't really care because I've got a daughter now, and that's the only thing important is spoiling the shit out of her. So if this gets me more business and makes people happy, then let's do it.
Yeah, getting in front of the people like this is today's world.
Yep.
And I commend you for it for sure. It's
Thank you.
You're doing the right. You're going the right direction.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Thanks for sticking around for another episode of Break It Down with Braydon, and more to come soon. There it is.